Hey YouTubers, he's back, and it hasn't been a month. It's been earlier than not usual. As hinted before in my previous pickup video, I said I've been up in the loft and I found some old Star Wars toys which I thought I'd lost. Now, just to put things into context, obviously when the first Star Wars film came out in '77, I was about 5, and like everyone else I was a massive fan, and was fortunate enough to have older brothers. So between the three of us, we got quite a lot of the toys in the first year or two, and then I took over, and I was still into Star Wars up until I don't know about 84, 85. But obviously by that time the figures were starting to dwindle. I was going more interested into things like Action Man, Scare Electrics and that sort of thing, Fighting Fantasy books and all sorts of things, and board games. And so my interest in Star Wars figures stopped, and that was about, and I was collecting all the figures actually. It stopped literally just when the last, I don't know, dozen or so figures came out. So I mean, in theory I could pick up those figures loose, which wouldn't be too expensive loose, but that's no point. I got a bag. I still got my original Star Wars figures with 99% of the actual, you know, guns and everything, all in a Star Wars, not a Star Wars bag, in an old school bag. I got all bagged up individually, and I got all the guns and accessories in a little tobacco tin, all together, safely put it, you know, up in the loft. I still got that. About 10 years ago, I did have a clear out of some of the Star Wars stuff because I knew I did not have a space to display it or look after them properly. I had the, you know, AT-AT Walker boxed and the Millennium Falcon boxed, and a Rebel Troop Carrier, Y-Wing Fighter. I had 2 X-Wings, the original white one, which was yellowed, and when I was a kid I got the newer Return of the Jedi type, or Empire Strikes Back X-Wing that came out with battle damage stickers, and I put those battle damage stickers on the old white one when I was a kid, which was obviously a foolish thing to do. But I've sold all of those I had just to clear up room. I've took photos and stuff just for my own sake. But I knew, because my interest was in gaming and everything else, that there was to stay in a loft and I wouldn't have any way of displaying them. But I thought it was strange. I thought I knew I had some other vehicles and so forth. I didn't know what happened to them. My parents and you often move house every 2 or 3 years, and so we used to, you know, pack things and move things and sometimes put things into storage. And I assumed that at some point some of these had got lost. Well, when I was sorting out the loft the other week, I found a massive large box, and I've rediscovered a lot of these lost vehicles boxed. I've sorted out all ones which I wanted to keep in the bedroom on display, and the rest will have to stay in the loft because I've got space. I've got the Ewok Village boxed, the Katina playset from, you know, Star Wars, which is quite, you know, uncommon. What was else in it? A Scout Walker with a Return of a Jedi Endor Forest box, and the Darth Vader Destroyer. The vehicle itself is in a bag, and the box is separate, because if you know that playset, you can't get it back in the box once you've got it out. And so they're all up in the loft, they are, and they're not really stored, they're just carefully boxed and everything else. However, when I was up in the loft, I picked out some, you know, the best out of those for me to keep, and I'm going to show you those in a minute. Before then, I also got a lot of more modern Star Wars stuff from the 90s and more recent up in the loft too. And again, no way of displaying those at a moment, well, unless I win the lottery. But anyway, there was a couple of bits I wanted out anyway to have on display. One of them is from the 90s. It's a wife again. It's the Star Wars Han and Luke action, well, I don't know, so action, you know, doll collection, or what you want to call them. And so obviously you got the Han and Luke in Stormtrooper outfits with one of those little funny little droid things. So yeah, I got that in the early 90s, made by Kenner. I don't think, at the time, I think I bought it for about £40. No idea what they go for now, but still, it's a nice set. That I do have at the same time some other action figures as well, which I bought. I've got like Luke, not Luke, Han. No, I've got Leia in a Hoth outfit and classic Stormtrooper. I remember buying Boba Fett for my brother as a present too, for his birthday, and he's still got that boxed. But anyway, that's one other modern thing I got as well from the early 90s. And this was exclusively released in Woolworths in the UK when they were open, before they went bust. And it was free if you, I think you got it if you spent so much money or whatever. I actually got 3 figures of these at a time, so I got 2 which are upstairs as well. But this is one I actually managed to get signed by Dave Prowse, the man himself who obviously acted as Darth Vader. As we all know, he didn't do a voice in the end. He did do a dialogue, but obviously it was dubbed over by James Earl Jones, which is just well because he wants a. Was it? It was a bit of a country accent he's got. I don't know if it was like West Country accent. I'm sure Dave Prowse has, or did. Obviously he's passed away now, but he came to. My brother lives in Norwich. I was visiting him one weekend, and he was doing there was a sci-fi fair at the University of East Anglia in Norwich, and he was there signing things for cost. I remember I think I had to pay about £20 or something daft like that for him to sign anything. You know, it wasn't cheap. But obviously, you know, so it says Dave Prowse is Darth Vader, and this is like a special release edition of Darth Vader in the Empire Strikes Back box. It's not a retro collection, obviously this is something that came out in the early 90s, and it's quite unusual in the early 90s to have that retro style box at the time. So that's a nice collectible. Now let's go to the old stuff. Let's do Return of the Jedi first of all. Yes, all boxed and complete. Jabba's Palace. Find the box. I've got the sticker sheet and the sort of instruction manual all ironed in a baggie. The toy itself and all the loose bits are all nice protective baggies. Got the insert, and I've ironed the box, cleaned it all up with Windoline, and got it covered with clean film, which I've used a heat gun to melt on to to melt down a bit. It's not damage to a box, but just to keep it together. Because at the time I'd made a mistake in the late 80s when I was boxing stuff up. I thought, oh, I know what would keep it together, stop the box coming apart, opening up. Masking tape. Well, masking tape is okay, but after a few years it dries up and leaves a horrible mark, and it's a pain in the arse to get off. I find that the best way of getting it off is with a heat gun. I've tried acetone and all sorts, and it's it's really difficult without doing damage to a box. But that is the Jabba Hutt box is the Kenner version. I think my parents got this for me from the Snetterton Market in Norfolk at the time. Also probably a birthday present. So a really cool figure. Right, next. Like I said, I had the AT-AT, and the AT-AT is, it's a fantastic toy, but it just takes up too much room, like Millennium Falcon. I had no way of displaying those and giving them credit, so I thought, 10 years ago, get a bit of money which I can invest in games, which I did, and basically it'll go to a collector who you'll hopefully display him and look after him better than I could have done. I told you already in the loft I got the Scout Walker in the indoor box, but the first release box was like a Hoth box, so it's still Return of the Jedi, but there's a Hoth scene box, and for a lot of kids at the time this confused them, thinking, well, there's no snow scene in Return of the Jedi, why is that then? Well, as we all know, that you get to see a little Scout Walker just briefly for a few seconds in The Empire Strikes Back, walking along the feet of some AT-AT walkers. So that's when you first actually see the proper, you know, Scout Walkers in those days. It's funny, they call it a Scout Walker, but isn't it AT-ST? That's what I thought anyway, unless I'm mistaken. But anyway, so it's really nice. It's all complete with a sticker sheet insert. And unfortunately it's not missing any of the little gun that's on top. I think my Endor box one does have a missing gun, but I would have thought these days I could probably get a 3D moulded replica of that gun if I needed to, you know, if I wanted to complete that particular toy in the future. But for now, I've got the first edition Hoth box. Okay, one other vehicle. Show Darth Vader. Well, have to have a ship. This is from the original Star Wars. Remember getting this for birthday or Christmas one year. I also wanted the TIE Fighter, but for whatever reason, they were so rare a toy to see after, you know, they were first released, and I could never see one. I mean, if you did have one, they will be all hobbled and yellowed and all sorts. But I could never get a TIE Fighter. I really wanted one. That's one of my most sought after vehicles when I was a kid, and I could never see one. But the Darth Vader ship was more common at the time, and obviously this is a power toy edition, like that Scout Walker, all complete. Again, as I said, I've ironed the sticker sheets and the manuals and put them in baggies, and the toy itself's in a baggie, and it's all protected. Right, these last two ships, I'm so glad I've got, because, you know, I thought they were lost, and I was even looking again on eBay, thinking should I get buy them again, because they were some of my favourite toys to play with as a kid, and they were the most coolest ships ever. And the first one is the Snowspeeder, the Rebel Armoured Snowspeeder. Again, this is power toy, all complete. The box is not mint, obviously. Like I said, there is some sticker damage, but then again, it is an honest, played with toy. And I was glad enough to look after it as well as I did. And like I said, it's got the instruction manual ironed and sticker sheet. Obviously the sticker sheets are all used, all the sticker sheets are used, because obviously I have to put them on the vehicles. But yeah, so it's really nice to have that, and it's got the grappling hook. That's not lost or anything, which I was worried it might be. I was always careful to take batteries out of these toys so they wouldn't get any leakage or damage in that way. So I'm really pleased to have that Snowspeeder all boxed. Lovely jubbly. And that leaves one last vehicle, and I remember this vehicle again, I never saw it in the shops, but then a friend of mine, his mum subscribed to a catalogue, and I was looking through the magazine, and they had this ship in there, and I asked my mum, I pleaded my mum, can she please pay my mate's mum the money so that she could order this for me? And they did. And in those old days, it seemed like it took forever for these things to get delivered. It wasn't like Amazon that you get things next day. It seemed to take weeks and weeks and weeks, which when you was a kid, having sleepless nights, that's felt like a lifetime. But eventually it came. And this is one of the coolest ships ever. And you can probably, all of you can probably guess what it is. It's obviously Slave One. Power toy, yeah. Again, it's complete with a sticker sheet and manual and insert, and no missing parts. It's got the Han Solo in carbonite extension, the little figure thing. Again, the box is not perfect. There is some sticker damage, from the old masking tape. But again, it is a nice, as true to UK would say, a nice, honest, toy. And it's so nice to have it boxed. I mean, this is how I'm going to keep it forever. I can look up, put these on top of my wardrobe, my bedroom, on display. Because there's no room in there, there's no space in the game room. But yeah, that's that. So this is a, I know it's not a game pickup video, guys, but I thought some of you might be interested in this, you know, in some of these. I know Retro Ed is definitely for sure. It's just some really cool toys I had as a kid, and I'm so glad that they weren't lost, because I really thought that, you know, they had been lost or pinched or whatever else, because my dad kept things in lockups and all sorts. So I would have, you know, I'm really glad I got these ones in particular, because they're just, you know, so cool. Well, anyway, guys, take care, keep safe, and bye bye.